everywhere. GBS.
Naam, ni tumaini langu mtazamaji wangu wa GBS TV mahali popote ulipo. Yu buheri wa afya, karibu katika GBS TV Jumatatu. Mimi naitwa Ivan Kibe. Tangu tuachane Jumatatu iliyopita, natumai yu buheri wa afya. Karibu katika mazungumzo yetu siku ya leo. Na kwanza nataka uniwie radhi kwa kuchelewesha mazungumzo yetu kwa dakika 16. Lakini cha msingi ni kwamba afadhali punda afe lakini mzigo ufike, na afadhali kuchelewa kuliko kukosa kufika. Ndani ya studio leo tutakuwa tunazungumzia masuala ambayo yanahusiana na mob justice. Tutakuwa tunazungumzia swala hili kwa uzima. Tutakuwa tunaangalia katiba inasema nini kuhusu mob justice, ama tunasema kwamba kuchukua sheria mikononi. Na siko peke yangu kuzungumzia swala hili, niko na wageni kutoka Maisha Poa ambao watakuwa wananisaidia kuzungumzia swala hili nzima. Swala letu siku ya leo na kuuliza, wakati mtu mmoja katika jamii ameweza kukosea kwa njia moja ama nyingine, jukumu la jamii ni nini? Hiyo ndio swali letu siku ya leo. Na bila kupoteza wakati, ningetaka nimweke Pastor Mary kutoka Maisha Poa ili aweze kukusalimu, ambaye atakuwa ananisaidia kufanikisha mazungumzo haya. Karibu Pastor Mary.
Asante. Thank you for having us. Naitwa Pastor Mary. Natoka shirika la Maisha Poa ambalo ni shirika la Full Gospel Churches of Kenya. Na sisi ni center ambao tunajali sana habari ya vijana wa mtaani. Na siku ya leo tumekuja kuongelelea habari ya kusema la, kwa sababu habari ya mob justice, kwa sababu we have lost many of our children or youth through hiyo. Kwa hivyo tunasikia ni vizuri tunene hiyo. Asante.
Okay. Naona leo hujatembea peke yako, naona umetembea na wageni ambao pia ningetaka niweke hewani. I can see that this morning we are having my good friend Jamina and Veronica. We start from Veronica. Please say hi to Kenyans who are watching us from different part of Kenya.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I hope everyone is doing fine. I'm so glad to be here with you today. It's a blessing to be here. We are visitors from Canada, so it's an honor to be with you today.
Maybe you can tell us something that you understand about this mob justice.
Yes, so mob justice is something that we were not familiar with. We have met Pastor Mary a few years ago, and she has told us about what's going on in the slums. She has told us about mob justice, and we were shocked the first time that we heard about it. It's definitely something that touched our hearts, and so we're very glad to be here to talk about that today. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. We'll be back to you. And then we are joined by Jamina. Welcome.
Yes. Welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure for me also to be there with you. And Veronica and I came to Kenya because we want to like, it's like family for us. Mm-hmm. And we know that mob justice is a problem here, and it touched our heart. And that's why we want to talk about it today. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. And let me say that I'm humbled to have you this morning. Mm-hmm. And Pastor Mary, now we start from you, ambao unaelewa masuala ya mob justice humu nchini. And before that, Kenyans, I would wish to give some verification that each and every year, Kenyans, we are losing over 500 Kenyans as a result of mob justice. And these are a research that was done in the year 2011, And this is unfortunate that now, to date, we can estimate that maybe over 700 Kenyans are losing their lives as a result of mob justice. We go to Constitution trying to understand what our Constitution says about the mob justice. Specific, I want to go to Article 50, Section 2 of our Constitution. It provides that every person is innocent until proven guilty. That is Article 50, Section 2A of the Constitution, that provides that every person has the right to fair trial, not only is innocent until proven guilty, but also he has the right to be fair trial, which includes the right to be presumed innocent until the contrary is provided. And finally, Kenyans, before we go further, I would wish also to bring the provision of Article 29 of our Constitution. It also made it clear that Constitution provides that every person has the right to freedom and security of persons regardless of calamities, maybe that can presume castigated by so-called watundu. Karibu Pastor Mary. Hivyo ndivyo katiba yetu inasema ya kwamba licha ya kwamba nitajaribu pia kutumia Swahili na Kizungu ili mwananchi wetu aweze kuelewa ya kwamba katiba yetu inasema ya kwamba, ningetaka tuanze na wewe Pastor Mary, ambayo inasema report inaweza kuonyesha kwamba tangu mwaka wa 2011 inaonyesha kwamba watu 500 walikuwa napoteza maisha kila siku, sababu kila mwaka kutokana na ghadhabu ya umma. That is 2011. Now we are talking about 12 years back. Today we can estimate that almost 700 people are dying as a result of mob justice. What is your view on this?
It is very bad. We are losing a whole of generation. I was imagining 700 people even in this room. You can imagine. I want us to put a picture. Imagine how many buses are those. A 62-seater bus and divide by 700 or 800. Those are so many souls that we are losing. Our girls are losing husbands, and our boys are losing wives through mob justice, and even the parents are losing their children through that, which is very painful. And as a nation, we're also losing a whole generation. And in my view, the people who are affected, not of our age, but these children or these people are from either 17 to 20 or even 22, because I've never had, in rare cases, I've had about 40 years people, 40 years ambao wanapata mob justice. Nafikiri ni 17, 18, 23 and below. So for me and for the church and as a parent and as an auntie of somebody, it is very scaring. It's a very bad number.
We have seen Article 50, Section 2A, that provide that Kenyans are, anyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Mm-hmm. What is this that propagate that now we are having the members of public taking action?
Okay, one, I'm so surprised because you can't get people beating each other in the posh areas, but in the slum area, that's where people are killing each other. And in my own view, I think these people are bitter. I think they are stressed. I think they have heaped a lot of bitterness in them. And then any opportunity to do what? To pour out what they have, then they'll do anything to those people. Wako na hasira, makasiriko, ambayo either they were hit, and the other time we were talking about abuse and the physical abuse. And so I think somebody who was abused at an early age will not find it a big deal to hit somebody. I think that one started very early, because people, watu wako na makasiriko. I don't know how to put it. People are angry and disappointed. They are stressed, and that is how they show how their inside is.
Okay, thank you. Tukirejea kwa Pastor Mary tutakuwa natuambia mostly in slums, what contribute to this mob justice. And now as we bring on board, maybe Veronica to tell us, you have said that in Canada you don't have such cases. What do you think the Canada did maybe to make sure as a country you don't have such cases?
Well, you're right when you say in Canada we don't have such things as mob justice, but we do have criminal activity. We do have criminals. We do have gang members. And for me, I was sharing earlier with Pastor Mary that mob justice is really an issue of the heart, you know. Of course, poverty can contribute to it. I think, as Pastor Mary just said, growing up in a family of abuse can contribute to it, but it really comes down to how you're handling your anger and your heart. And for me, that's where it's so important that every one of us look after our own hearts, and that we make sure that we don't let anger come and dominate us. And I think one of the factors that contribute to mob justice, we were doing research last night, just looking up, and I think access to a very strong legal system can be a factor. You know, I think some people that contribute to mob justice, maybe they don't trust the authorities, that they will really handle things, so they decide to take it into their own hands. That might be a factor. And so yeah, that's what I think is one of the factors that contributes.
Okay, thank you. One more. What do you think that as a country we have to adopt so that we can have a zero mob justice?
Oh, that's a big question. That's a very good question. I think it comes down, people once said, if you want to change the world, go home and love your family. And I think that's a very strong and powerful sentence. If you want to change things, you must love one another. And I think the best example of that was Jesus Christ and how he loved people. He really showed the value of each and every individual. So I think it might sound like a simple answer, but it's what's come to my mind right now, that love is really the answer to everything.
Okay, thank you. Jamina, maybe at our policy level, we have seen that we have a very strong constitution that addresses those issues. What do you think that is weak in our policies? Is it the way, is something to do with implementation? Is this something to do with the authority becoming so unfamiliar with this, with the alleged?
Yes. Excuse me, can you repeat the question, please?
Okay, I'm asking, what do you feel that we need to do, maybe at a policy level? Because we have already constitution that put it clear.
Yes.
These and these should not be done.
Yes.
But still we're having these cases increasing day by day.
Yes.
At a policy level, what do we need to do?
That's a good question. As Veronica said before, I totally agree that it's a problem of heart. Because even if you have the police system that do everything, and we need the police system because that's where we put order in everything that we do. We need order. We need a police system. We need judges to make sure that all the people that do the crime, they have a fair trial, you know. And if our art change, that's where the starts change. So it's before everything we have to examine our own arts. And like she said, love each other, and even love and forgive each other. That's, I think the problem is that we as human, and I include myself, we are very fast to accuse someone of wrongs, you know, accuse someone that he did something wrong. But the thing is that when you look at yourself and you realize, okay, I'm not better than that person, I need to forgive him. And that's what Jesus did in the cross. He forgave everyone. He forgave even the people that did mob justice to him. Because the whole crowd, was about to tell him to crucify him, even if he was innocent, even if the police system at this time said that I don't see him as an innocent person. But even if the police system was here, the crowd did justice by themselves, and they execute him, they crucified him. So I think it's a human heart problem. And when our hearts change and realize that every life is valuable, every life is very precious, that we are not better than the other one, I think that's where the change comes.
Okay. Yes. Still on you, we have sometimes Kenyans feel that our judicial service, our judicial process are not adhering to what the Constitution presumes. Do we have the same problem in Canada?
If we have constitution problem in Canada?
Yes.
Well, actually, yes.
Specific, well, especially to judicial process.
So, yeah, I think that's, I'm guessing every country has the same issues where we do have a strong legal system, but sometimes decisions are being made that are not fair, you know? So people do take cases to the justice and they're doing their best job. But then we are very happy, we are glad that God is the one who does the justice and He's the perfect judge, because whenever you take people to the justice system, you must trust, as the Bible says, you must trust your authority in place, and I think that's what everybody should do. Instead of taking justice into your own hands, it's taking that person that offended you, that stole something from you, and bring him or her to the justice, and trust that the police will do their job, that the judge will do his job. So I think that's something that people do in Canada, but you just have to trust that it's going to be handling well.
Okay, thank you. Pastor Mary, nilikuwa nimesema nikirejea kwako tutakuwa tunaangalia nini hii inachangia hizi mob justice, wananchi kuchukua sheria mikononi. Most of time unaipata kuna kwa mitaa ya mabanda.
Kama vile nitangulia kusema na venye tu Veronica na Jamina wamesema, it starts from our hearts. Na kwanza kukosa kupendana, and then kenye ulifanyiwa una transfer kwa huyu mwingine. Na we don't have time, either we in a hurry even to know what really happened. Maana watu wengi wameuawa hata pengine hakuna kitu walifanya. Na mifano kadhaa. Kuna mama moja mahali fulani na alienda sokoni, alafu akakutana na wakora, wakamtoa kila kitu na wakampiga, wakamuacha uchi, na akiwa uchi hivyo kukuruma, akaenda polepole kwa nyumba ambazo zilikuwa karibu, na waliomuona walifikiri ni mrogi, mchawi. So walianza kumpiga. You know, when you see a naked lady, kuna culture ambazo zinasema warogi wanafanya hivi wakiwa uchi. So alipigwa kabisa. Unaona uko raped, umenyang'anywa kila kitu, ulikuwa naenda soko, and then sasa umepigwa, karibu kuchomwa. Mtu mmoja ndio alikimbia akaita pastor fulani, na akakuja akamwambia, please, watu wamejawa na makasiriko, they want to do what, to kill this lady. Wameleta tire, mafuta, sijui napatikananga wapi mbio mbio. So but I thank God she was able to be rescued, na akapelekwa hospitali, and only to realize alikuwa amekuwa raped. Sasa nyinyi ndio mnamumalizia, na ni innocent lady who was going that early in the morning kutafuta kitu ya watoto wake. So nasema you only need a voice, one voice, somebody to say no. You can do whatever you can that particular time and save that soul. Sijui utatumia mbinu gani, because either we don't have much time to explain about all this. But what I want to say as a pastor and a community leader, and what I want to say, the soul is so precious before God. And the Bible says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And every time you see your sister, your brother, please forget forget about Kenya amefanya, uone hiyo precious soul na uone ikipotea, unaumiza Mungu. Jamina said, people kill, people think they punish, not knowing that they are also criminals because they have done against God's will. So unaweza ona wewe umemaliza huyu, lakini behind the scene you also a criminal and you are answerable to God, because you can also not, uwezi jiumbia mtu wako. We were all created in God's image, and God loves us so much. No wonder that's why even when we were lost in sins, Jesus came to bring us back to him. So I don't know, hakuna dhambi, there's no amount of sin ambao inapatiana ticket ya kuua mtu. So nilikuwa nasema, in our slum areas, please let us say no. Let us deal with our anger in different ways, but not by lynching, because a phone like this, even if it's 20,000, it does not warrant you to kill somebody, because those children we are killing is a son to somebody, a sister, a cousin, and most of them are married and have wives and children, either one or two. And now when you kill that person, the children are already, they lack their father or their mother. So in our slum areas, there are so many issues, insecurity, poverty, joblessness, and people are just idle. No wonder when they hear of anything, they will run there. 100 people, you will attract 100 people or more in few minutes, and they want to do what is ready. So please, in our slum areas, before we do anything, let us stop and ask, what am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? Because one, you are sinning before God, then you are snatching a son who could even change after some time. I have seen many changing. We have rescued many, even where I stay. We have rescued many, and they are so good people. Afterwards you see, and you ask yourself, who is this that we wanted to kill? Because people change. People change, and they are so precious, and they change, and they come back and help the community, not only the community, but even their families. So let us wait. Let us be patient a little bit. Let us listen to them. Yesterday there's a case. A boy was caught in Naivas supermarket. He went to the shop, and he stole some sugar. You know, these days sugar is very expensive. She stole sugar, and I think something like, I can't remember the items, but when he was caught, thank God, he said he's from our center or our church, and I'm a pastor of so many so many people. And he said when he mentioned our church, then we were called, and we were able to pay whatever he had stolen. But finally, when I was talking to this boy, he was telling me, my mom is sick in bed, and we don't have anything to eat. That's why he went for the sugar. Okay, he used the wrong route, but if you use your listening ear, not a hearing one, then you'll not take him like a thief, but he wanted to do what? To feed the mother who was sick. In fact, we had to buy some unga and sugar so that now he may take home, but we are still talking to him. He's in class 8. And imagine,
That's a young.
he's very young. But if you, I was thinking, there were so many things in that supermarket. There was biscuits, cakes, and sodas. There were so many things, even appealing things to children of that age. But he went straight
To sugar.
to the shell of sugar. And you know how much it's now costly. Probably in their house, they have never not taken sugar for a month or two. And he was like, he wanted to please the mother, and even to go and take to the mother, and the mother would cook for them. So
Okay, thank you. Veronica, there is these issues with the citizen arrest. And the constitutional demand that if there is in case of that citizen arrest, as a citizen, you arrest and then you present the guy to the police or to the authority. But people has been misinterpreting that. Do you think that we have to do something in our constitution that we delete that citizen arrest and then we leave the responsibility to the authority?
The responsibility to the authority, you mean to the police?
Yes.
Or, well, I don't get the question, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm asking, in Kenyans we have an issue where a citizen can arrest somebody on
citizens.
behalf of the police, on behalf of the government.
Now I get you.
So
Yes.
there is a misinterpretation when they arrest, what they take an action of not criminalizing the perpetrator.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you feel that now we need to delete that clause and not let the responsibility be to the government?
Yeah. So what I think, for me, one of the saddest thing about mob justice, we were having conversations with Pastor Mary and other people this week, is that most of the time or sometimes the people that are being arrested and that are being killed are not even the guilty ones. They are just people that were passing by. And actually one of the member of Pastor Mary's church, he was around and he just saw a crowd and he just went there to see what was happening. And then he was the one being accused of there was like an accident with a car and people thought he was the driver and he was being beaten for something that he didn't do actually. So I definitely think that the ones that should do investigations and arrests are the police, so that they are being trained to do it well, so that people, because everybody deserves to say their part of the story. And if you want a fair trial, everybody deserves to be heard, and everybody deserves to have like a fair investigation before being accused of anything. And for me, that's one of the worst part of mob justice, is that some people, they just want to kill. So they'll see you around and they'll just accuse you of something you never did. So I definitely think that investigations should be held in the police area.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Veronica said. I think the police should be the one who investigate. Because I was saying to Veronica yesterday that even when you go, imagine that you are sick. When you are sick, what do? You go to hospital, right? You go to hospital to receive care from the medicine, from the doctors, from the nurse, because they study everything. They study the health system. They are trained to that. I think the police officer and the judges, even if they are not perfect, we know that most of the time, even doctors, they are not perfect, but they are trained to that. So when you are sick, you go to hospital to receive care. Even if it takes times, you still stay there because you need the surgery. You need the specialist to do this work. And I think with the authority, the police, the judges, it's the same. Even if it takes time, you don't have the justice at the time that you want, but you have to be patient. Patient that the system will do his work because they study for that. And if there are no justice, if there is no order, it will be, the country will be a mess. Yes.
Whom should we blame when these cases are increasing every day?
Sorry, I didn't.
Whom should we blame when these cases are increasing day by day?
Who should we blame?
Who should we blame? Well, I think, I don't know if you will love my answer, but everyone is to blame because we are all sinners. If I take it in a biblical perspective, we are all sinners. We all deserve to be condemned, you know? But this is why I love about Jesus. He didn't condemn us. He didn't judge us. He was the one who could judge us, but he didn't do it because actually he showed us that he took our place. He took our place so that we can love each other again and forgive each other again. And I think that as a society, we should support each other. And I don't think that we should blame any person in it, even if the person that is committing the mob justice, even the victims, we just have to change our own hearts, and after that, like I said before, you will see the change, because everyone is guilty. I know I was a kid. I also steal when I was a kid. So if I put myself in a place where if they accuse me and they did mob justice for me when I steal candy, I wouldn't be here with you today.
Exactly.
And I think it's the same for even those kids in the street, like Pastor Mary said before. We can't condemn because we don't know what the story of the person that is in front of us. We don't know what she's living. We don't know what she's going through. Even if what she's doing is wrong, but she still have, her life is precious. Yes.
Everyone has their story.
Yes.
Okay. Veronica, as an organization, tell us what are you doing, maybe to reduce these cases.
So I'm talking as a Maisha Poa member. So every time we come to Kenya, we are ministering with Pastor Mary at Maisha Poa Center at Full Gospel Churches of Kenya, Maisha Poa Church. And we've been doing campaigns. Every time I come here, we do big events, and we just sensitize people about this issue. So last year we organized like a march for peace. We went to the Kawangware market area, and we were just sharing the gospel, sharing the message of love. And I think the Pastor Mary has done such a wonderful work at helping people, because I think, as Jamina said, you cannot accuse a young child or a young boy of stealing if you're not ready to help him. And I think Maisha Poa Center has done just that, helping street kids to put their life in order, giving them food, giving them love, and it has really changed lives. And I think that's the best way to prevent mob justice. It's to love these kids and show them another way when they are maybe tempted to steal or to do things that are not right. They know they have a place where they will receive love and food and resources, and I think that's the best work.
Pastor, ningetaka tuweze kuzungumzia hili swala la watu ni kana kwamba wamepoteza matumaini na idara za polisi, jinsi zinavyokabiliana na hili swala la uhalifu. Kwa mfano utakuta kuna kijana ameshikwa sababu ya halifu, hata ameiba na ndio huyu wamempresent kwa polisi. Then you find the next day either familia ilihongana, either aliona polisi, and then the next day unamuona bado wanapita pale. And now ni mstakiwa but ako free. And now I think those are the some of issues ambazo zinafanya community kiona yule kijana nao wanaamua hata watu kimshika tumpeleke kituo cha polisi cha Rirota ama mahali popote pale, at the end of the day watamwachilia tu.
I think nitarudia vile Jamina amesema ya kwamba we love each other and don't condemn, kwa sababu anaweza shikwa na achiliwe, maana sasa you have no authority, au tuwezi, kuna wakati your hands are tied, you are not able even to go beyond, maana umereport na ameachiliwa. Na sasa ukiwa na upendo, sasa wewe utaachilia na umungoje akifanya tena tumrudishe until wakati ambapo hata yeye atasikia. Na venye sorry Veronica amesema, tunaongea na wao kwa sababu kuiba ni kama shortcut, maana hii simu naweza nunua after saving some money, but shortcut ni kuchukua ikuwe yangu. So it is good even to know aliiba kwa nini ilimpelekea, maana either hataki kungoja, either akona haja sana nayo, either kuna kitu inampush. So if you're able to talk to these boys and girls, then you can be able to arrest the case even before we take them to the police stations, and even before they mess or they are being messed up. Recently I went to a police station. There was a case, a lady na alikuwa ameiba simu ya mtu, and I remember the police told that lady what they normally do, when you continue stealing you will be promoted to glory. And I was like I didn't really understood what she wanted to say, but I realized she was telling the lady that if you continue with this case, sasa utauawa na utakuwa promoted nchi hiyo ingine. Nikasema, if we talk them before they are promoted to to that glory, it is very important. We start, somebody said, you think big and you start small. So the reason we are talking and the reason we came today is to tell somebody that if our voice is heard, if you've heard our voice today, you can say no to your neighboring people. Then we start small, even if we have big thoughts, even if we want to achieve and to reduce this thing, we may not be able to do much, but we are only telling you, our listener, just say no to that neighbor who is doing such. Your word, your voice is very important. Saying no, and saying no, you will stop those pangas and those rungus and those people with the fire and the matchbox. They will stop and listen. And if you may not know what to tell them, but just tell them no. Tell them this is a precious soul. This is a child of God, and he will change. He will change, and we should not do that. So we may not know how to say it. We may not have good words to say what we want to say. But what I say, if you heard our voice today, just say no to that neighboring people who are doing that mess. You can take your time. Many times we don't have time to stop and giving out our voice. But I love the way our church members do. Remember a lady, and when she found somebody who was being beaten, and she laid on him. You know, a lady laying on somebody who is being beaten, and then before she was also beaten because they thought they were together, God sent somebody and said, please, let us listen to this lady. And the lady woke up and said, I am saved, and I know this is a precious soul, and please let us save this boy. Let us take them to the police. And that is what they did. They took him to the police. And people now realized this girl was not together with the thief. So, and many times they think the petty things they are carrying, like now the children in the street, whatever they carry, some rags, shoes, baskets, some buckets, water buckets. Really, a bucket of 250 or 150, is it worth, surely? Does it warrant to kill a precious soul, which is so precious before God? So mine is to say, just say no. We may not have much. We may not even have Bible quotes, but it is good to say no to that person. Remember, I think it has been in the media all through, those people who go and lynch the old ladies. You remember the cases in Kisii? And because a warrant, somebody thinks you are a witch simply because you have wrinkles on your face, and you are told that you are a witch and you are being banned. Does it warrant? Really, if you listen to yourself, because God is so gracious, and we have something in us, conscience, which tells you what you are doing is not right. If you look at that lady and the wrinkles on her face, and the frustrations and the problem she's going through, and then you come and add another injury, what do you think in you? If you don't fake things, it is good to listen to you. And there's a voice in you that says you are doing wrong. Just listen to that voice and save this lady, save these old people. Because aging is not a crime. And by the way, the people who are old, they are blessed with many years. So the young, the old, the vulnerable, let us give them their dignity. Let the age grow or age gracefully, because they are also, we call them senior citizens, and it's not a crime to live even 100 years.
My good friend Elijah Mwega says that age, old is gold.
Yes, age is cool.
Jamina, we can't talk about mob justice and we fail to address the issues of gender issues. In Kenya, there is that perception that most of perpetrators, they are the men. I don't know how this is being perceived in Canada.
You mean
So you should know our first language is
It's
French,
French,
by
yeah.
the way. That's why sometimes we don't understand. English is our second, like
Yes.
you and Swahili.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, most of the time you said that the men are the criminals who do the mob justice. So you're asking if it's a
No,
gender...
it's just a perception.
Okay, a perception.
So I don't know how it is being perceived, maybe in Canada.
Well, that's a good question. Actually, I don't know if it's gender problems, or is it because men are women are more emotional and men are more like physical. I think anger problems comes from even if you are a woman or a man, and maybe it's how can I say it? Because you said, before you ask if in Canada we have problem of mob justice. We don't have those kind of problems, but we do have other problems that could be like mob justice, but in a different ways. I was thinking when you asked the question about like intimidation in school. I don't know if you have those kind of problems here, but in Canada, it's very, very an important problem that even the police and everyone address it. And because even if it's not physical, it's our words. And we know that sometimes our words can kill people because some people commit suicide after they heard bad words about them. So I think it's a man and woman problem. Maybe because sometimes men are more physical than women. Maybe it might be the fact, but it's difficult to explain what is the sources. But I think, like we said it before, it might be anger problems that even women can have and men also. Yes.
Maybe I can presume that 90% of those people are dead as a result of mob justice in Kenya. 90% might be men. Maybe we take a short break. When we come to back, Veronica, you will explain to us what are the most of repercussions and who are those affected when maybe there is a lot of mob justice. Are they women, children, or who will be affected when these cases continue? So we take a short break. I'm coming back. My name is Ivan Kibe.
Are you friendly to the elderly people around you? Are you loving them? Are you taking care of them?
Elijah Mwega, founder and CEO Karika. Karika is a community-based organization.
Majina zangu ni Monica Jerry Kamau kutoka Dagliti County, na mimi ni mmoja wale wazee wanakuaga huko Karika.
The older people give wisdom to the young generation. And if we have a young generation which has no wisdom, then the country cannot grow.
What are some of the things that we are supposed to ensure that you're being included in the conversation and decision making to be part of the community and part of the family?
Naweza sema kuwa pamoja ni kitu very important. Wakati tunakutana sisi tuko pamoja, tunafurahia hiyo sana. Kwa sababu kuna wale wanakaa tu huko masinani, hawezi toka.
What are some of the activities that you actively participate in the community?
Kama kushona masweta, sisi tunashona. Shondo tunashona. Kutengeneza sabuni ya liquid pia tunatengeneza sisi wenyewe. Hata ukija huko unaona tumeng'ana kabisa, sababu tunaenda tunafua nguo na hiyo sabuni.
By the way, we don't grow old. We only ripen.
We don't grow old, we only ripen.
Sometimes we even get to learn new things. Like today, we're going to be learning about something called synthography. And if you're anything like me, you're going to be very interested in this because I didn't even know this was possible until I met this guy who I'm about to introduce you to.
There's quite a few, it's fascinating though.
And when I look at that, it looks so photorealistic. The first time I saw it, I imagined there was somebody standing with a camera behind this lady and doing that.
Inspiration for the art I make is, I've always loved those images that people have of like the meta narrative. Like,
A lot of the images that I've seen, they look very personal and they focus around very kind of human subjects. Some of us, this might not really look really nice on your side, but I made that screensaver with like AI.
that was awesome.
And that was like, it was really fascinating for somebody who couldn't.
It took me like a good 4 months of experimenting to find the actual style.
Everywhere, GBS.
Karibu tena mtazamaji wangu wa GBS TV. Tunaendelea na mazungumzo yetu. Nimeona jumbe zenu kina Jogo Trench na wengine wote ambao mnatuma jumbe zenu nishazipokea. Welcome back Veronica. I see that we'll be back. We'll look who will be affected and who are the most culprit of these issues.
I think really everyone who's a witness are the first who are affected. I think mob justice are very traumatic. It's a very traumatic event whenever it happens. And we were talking with Pastor Mary. She was sharing how sometimes even children can be witnessed. They can witness such violent and if I can say barbaric events. And I think that leaves scars inside, even if they will not share it or they will not verbalize it. It's something that stays in your mind forever. And it's like when you witness abuse, you are also vulnerable yourself of one day being the perpetrator and and yourself becoming like a criminal because it's something that you've experienced your whole life. And I love what Pastor Mary said. When you kill someone, you kill somebody's son, somebody's cousin, somebody's brother, sister. And so I think families are also very affected by mob justice. It's a community hurt, community pain. And it's whenever it happens, everybody is affected. So it's not just one person; it's the whole community that can suffer from it.
Okay, thank you, Pastor Mary. Ningetaka tuweze kuangalia hili swala kama ulivyosema. Hapa nchini Kenya unakuta kwamba wale watuhumiwa wengi wa swala hili kijinsia, wanaume wanaonekana wao tu, hata polisi, hata hapa tulivyo ndani ya studio. Polisi tu akiingia tu hapa hivi ambaye atoke na mtu mmoja kama mhalifu, most probably even Kibi atakuwa kwa shida. How does that maybe sometimes affect men in response to mob justice?
Okay. Poleni boys na ama ni boy child, kwa sababu hivyo ndo tulipata. I think it's gender theory. Na wanda unasikia mwanaume atagongwa na bibi akipiga nduru, mwanaume atashikwa. And every time I get such cases and I refer them to the police station, one, they fear to report and they say atachekelewa na askari. Tauliza mbona ilikuwa hivyo. But these days we have gender desk ambao unaweza kwenda report silently ama secretly na unaweza kupata msaada. Okay, iko assumed that way. I think it's the issue of the gender theory and the way people took it even from the Bible ya kwamba women ni weak vessels. So wakati umesikia ni weak vessels, sasa unafikiri hicho chombo dhaifu ndio kiligongwa na kile strong ikakuwa assumed hivyo, na hivyo tu ndio imepelekea hata hao watoto ama vijana ambao wanauawa, kwa sababu it's very rare. Si rahisi sana. I think out of 10 pengine ni 2 tu wasichana, lakini wengine wote ni boys, kwa sababu ya hiyo gender theory. Kwangu ningesema watu wanakuwa punished, men and women, lakini sana ni boys. Lakini sasa hapo tuwezi sema ni gender theory, na hiyo assumption na attitude ambayo iko tangu zamani ya kwamba boys ndio wahalifu ama wanaume tu ndio wanaweza piga bibi zao, but not vice versa. Kama nimejibu.
Okay, thank you. We have 10 minutes to go. Pastor Mary, and you have an event that you are planning, sensitization to the society, to say no to mob justice. Please explain to us and where it will take place.
Okay, I stand to be corrected, but we wanted to talk to the boda people, because hao ndio wako ndio wanapata first hand information, hata wanasaidia. Sisemi wanasaidia kwa ubaya. Kuna wakati walisaidia watu wakawa rescue, lakini kuna wakati walitumika vibaya wakapatiana kiberiti ya kuchoma mtu. Lakini nasema I stand to be corrected. And then so we wanted to talk to the boda people, na tunataka kuongea na boys especially around Kawangware area Kabiru. We wanted to talk to them and to show them the value of someone's souls, ama to talk about the value of somebody, na yeye ni nani. Wenye tumesema unaweza tu ona mtu hapo, unaweza ona tu akiwa na uchafu, akiwa ni kama hajiwezi, lakini huyo ni mtoto wa mtu. So we may not have tuna message ngumu sorry, but hiyo tu ndio tunataka kuwakilisha ya kwamba watu ni precious na tuseme la.
Nairobi County and Mombasa County have been termed as the most leading counties in terms of mob justice. What are you doing on these two counties? Nairobi and Mombasa County, they are most leading in terms of people taking actions or criminalizing.
I think it starts with talking to these people. Maana mwingine anafikiri alisaidia mtu. Nikipiga nduru nimesinachiwa hii simu, somebody will come na good heart akifikiri ana save huyu mokoro kumrudishia simu yake. Lakini ukimwambia ni vizuri unamsaidia, lakini usigonge mwenye ameiba. I think those simple messages will help.
Jamina, what is your message?
What is what?
What is your message?
My message for the end? Well, I will say, like Pastor Mary said at first, say no to mob justice. Because we cannot do justice by ourselves. We are not the one to be judging other people. Only God can judge us. And the one thing that I wanted to say that was very strong in my heart is to learn to forgive. Learn to forgive each other. Learn to forgive the person that you see as a criminal. Learn to forgive your sister and your brother. And just love each other, you know? Because when you forgive, this is when you see change in other people. Because other people, when you forgive them, they don't expect to be forgiven. They expect that you will judge them. But when you forgive them, they are surprised and they say, okay, I committed a crime, but you forgive me. And that's what Jesus did for us at the cross. We needed to be condemned, but he forgave us. We didn't deserve his forgiveness, but he did. And I think that we should do the same, because he gave us something that we didn't deserve. And I think that as a human being, we should forgive each other and love each other. And this is when I think change will take places. Yes.
Experience that we have between Kenya and Canada in regard to mob justice. What do you take from Kenya?
What do you, I think from Kenya? Well, I love Kenya, so if that's your question.
But now in regards to mob justice.
Yeah. I think change is possible. You know, as I said earlier, we do have crime in Canada. It's not a perfect country at all. We do have very, very bad situations. We have murder. We have everything, and I think that change starts with you. So if you want things to change around you, you must change yourself, and definitely. There is hope for Kenya. I think there is hope for the slum area. And when I look at Pastor Mary and places like Maishapoa, for me it gives me hope, and it should give everybody hope that things can get better, and that even if there's mob justice issues now, it doesn't have to stay that way, and the country can evolve, the slum area can get better also. So that's why we came here today, just to share hope and say no to mob justice, so that things can get better.
Pastor Mary, unfortunately vijana wengi ndio wanauawa kupitia mob justice. And at the same time, unfortunately wao ndio wanaua wengine. So what is your message kwa vijana?
Kuambia tu they should love one another and listen to each other. You said we should have a listening ear and a seeing eye. Look at that somebody, look at that person. Angalia huyo ambaye ameiba. Ujiulize hiyo bucket amebeba ya jirani. Amemwaga maji, amebeba bucket. Ujiulize, if you have time, I think we are in such a hurry that we want to do things even before reasoning. If you look at that bucket of water, you can ask yourself, just ask him, where were you taking it? And where and why? Even if those are not good questions, and probably people are there and they want to do what they want, but he will tell you, this bucket, I took it because I want to sell, because yesterday I didn't take supper, and I want to sell it for 50 shillings so that I can take 2 mandazis and a cup of tea. Then if you have time, if you are peaceful enough to listen, by the way, you'll have to add him another 50 bob. So I think we should take time. Please listen to them, and you'll understand why. You don't want to say to give them a warrant of doing whatever they do, but you can, after that, now you can talk to them and tell them this is not the right thing. You can sell these sweets, you can do this, you can go to this polytechnic and do a vocational training, have a skill, so that in future you don't. Yeah.
Jamina, your parting shot?
If I'm what?
Your closing remarks.
Closing remarks. Yes. Well, like I said before, is to love each other. I will repeat it again. Love can change everything. Hate and hurting other people, it will only get worse. Because for me, mob justice is to do hurt for hurt. You know, it's like you saw someone hurting, and you want to hurt the person that hurt. So it doesn't hurt. Entering hurt by hurt doesn't change anything. But when you enter love by loving, it changes everything. Because people need it to be loved.
Veronica, your parting shot?
Yes, I would just say human life is precious, and that we should treat each other as we wish to be treated. And if you're ever in a situation where you were being accused wrongly, how would you like people to react? So I would say just show grace and take matter to the police and say no to mob justice.
Thank you. Pastor Mary, you are parting shot, but at the same time ningetaka tumesahau kuzungumzia swala la how people do perceived our security operators, because some feels that we are here today because of failure of our Department of Security. 1 minute, please.
Okay. As we said before, we may not be able to do much, and sometimes you are not able to to check on what they are doing. But if we do our part, okay, we can say they do good job, but there are those who probably are also corrupt. But what we say, we may not be able to do all that and even to follow what the police are doing. But if we do our part, I think we'll go a step. Just we play part, we just amesema tunasema ulinzi unaanza na wewe, na kuzuia mob justice inaanza na sisi, even before we go to the police. Tuwawache wafanye kazi yao, na tukiwaombea Mungu wasaidie hata kuwa na moyo wa huruma, na ili tuweze kumaliza hii kitu.
Okay, thank you. I would wish that we would have time to talk about stress and anger management, but I think that will set for another day. God willing, so let me say thank you for making to our program this morning. Niseme asanteni sana. So kwa hivyo ukurasa wa kwanza wa GBS TV Jumatatu tunaukunja chini, tunaingia ukurasa wa pili. Mimi naitwa Ivan Kibe. Ukurasa wa pili tutakuwa tunaangalia tafsiri ya mswada wa mwaka 2023. Na mimi natakuuliza kama wewe Mkenya mahali popote unatutazama, ni kipengele kipi cha mswada wa 2022 huelewi? Hapa ndani ya studio nitakuwa na mtaalamu wa masuala ya kikatiba ya umma. So kwa hivyo anaitwa Joyfrey Kerosi, atakuwa anajiunga na mimi kwa muda mchache.
Everywhere, GBS.
Very exciting to have had a moment to talk about matters of education, educants, and my own life. We go for education, or we access education so that we overcome ignorance, acquire knowledge, and then we can start looking at life differently.
Most of the students, they are influenced to do courses that the parents wanted them to do.
And most important, walk the journey the best way that you want to see your destination, because a journey has a destination. And as we keep moving on, just keep remembering what one quoted and said.